Antetokounmpo has made his needs known for him to re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to talk about why I think, see how Stevo feels, that's the proper way for players to empower themselves. And we're going to go over this article with this new metric to rank GMs. We'll get into all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central. I'm one of the hosts here. Haize Stevo's in the building as well. We're going to be breaking down a few topics today. First up, Steve, I'm going to throw this one to you. Giannis Antetokounmpo has made his needs known. They said basically if him, the players, everybody are in the same line as far as fighting towards the championship, if that's not happening, he won't re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks, kind of just stating it plainly. And since we've been in an era of like players trying to force their way out, we see the situation with James Harden, the situations with James Harden every 1.5 years, KD, Kyrie, things like that. And so it seems like there's a recent pushback from ownership to fight against that type of player empowerment, where players are kind of newly in the deals or whatever, asking and requesting trades. But I like the way that Giannis has gone about his business. He didn't request a trade. He didn't even allude to that he would. He's basically just saying, hey, my contract is up. If we're not in the place that I need us to be when my contract is up, I'm not going to re-sign here. And I think that puts the same amount of pressure on a GM and ownership to make sure they have the proper team around them as possibly requesting a trade. But I feel like that's doing it the right way. What do you think about that, Steve?
I 100% agree. I know when I first came out, we gave him a little flack for his little end of the year comments, but he just proves why he's one of the most liked guys around the league because he just does everything right. When he came out and said this, I'm like, that's literally the most genuine, respectful way you could do things. He understands what's going on. For those who don't know, there's new management, there's new ownership in the Milwaukee Bucks. And he said, all right, y'all don't know me like that. I don't know y'all like that. So let's sit down, have a talk. I'm gonna tell you my wants and needs. And if they're not made, I'm gonna leave. And you can't say. I think a lot of GMs and executives now feel like they get blindsided by a lot of their star players, and they're trying to cut down on that. And with that, you just give somebody a lot of respect to come out and be like, "This is what it is. This is how I want to be." Even players down the line, the Kobe's, the people like that have always done it. They told them what they want, and they said, "I'm gonna live up to my contract. I'm not gonna ask for a trade, but if my needs and standards are not met, I'm going to leave." And that's the best way we could do it. Unlike James Harden, KD, Kyrie, who just be like, we lost. I don't like what was going on here. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and especially like the KD Kyrie thing was such a major one because they basically built that team. They chose their coach. They wanted James Harden to join them, and then the ownership and GM went out and made it happen. But like Giannis just, like you said, the comments at the end of the season, but like Giannis continues to just be a class act when it comes to that. And that's how I want to see players go forward. And I know I'm a guy sitting here talking about basketball in the studio at the crib, right? Like, so I get it. It's a different level when you're in it and like you want to make sure that you get everything that you deserve. But to me, it's a bit unfair when you put pressure on an organization, kind of like what James Harden has done, and you've completely torpedoed the trade value that you could have gotten because now everybody knows you want yourself out of there. Like the way that Giannis plays out his contract, he has the right. That is, I think sometimes we also don't talk about it you earn the right to go to free agency. What Giannis has done for that city, for that team, bringing a title there, bringing MVPs there, all that type of thing, not really causing a fuss. He deserves to say, hey, if I want to win championships, and if this team isn't in a place to do it, I won't be on this team. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, and it also gives you the show, like, even if he were to do that, because of his past history, the way he is as a person, you automatically, like the general public is automatically going to be like, okay, I don't think this is a Giannis problem per se. Like, we always know once KD, it's probably not 9 times it's KD or Kyrie out of the situation. It's probably more them than management. And that's the thing. Like, he, like you said, he earned the right to go into free agency. At this point, whatever he think he done in that city, he's earned the right to ask for a trade. If the organization allows themselves to get to the point where Giannis is that disgruntled to ask for a trade, hey, you can't be mad at it. Versus somebody like Kyrie, where even if he's right now, like let's say now he moves on shit go haywire in Dallas and he asks for a trade, people are still gonna be like because of his track record. So it also just shows you like if you go about your business a certain way, it builds up kind of I don't know what's the word for it, but it just builds up like good points for you. So when you do kind of do stuff that's kind of off kilter or what you normally do, you won't get scrutinized that much.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it, and that's what it is. And I think it's also poignant and important that like you see that Giannis has faced almost no backlash for saying this. People understand it, right? There's no backlash, and the team now can make a decision. There's no way they trade Giannis, but like,
hell no.
Let's say it was a different type player, and they said, "Hey, listen, we don't think we can get it." Like for example, Dame's situation in Portland, they should have moved on from Dame a year and a half ago, bro. You knew you weren't going to put a championship team around him, and you knew that was his desire. And now that he's asking for one, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because he eventually requested one, but he still did that quietly, right? Like that's something he tried to handle.
Late.
Yeah. So, well, besides him and his agent,
yeah,
and calling other teams, that was the drama part in that one. But like these teams, you got to stop, and it forces execs to be realistic with what their capabilities are. If you're not able to put a title contender around these players that want to go for a title, move them, get the assets you can back, move them. You may face a little backlash at first, but you got to do what's best for your organization. And we've seen so many organizations over the last handful of years do things that end up shooting them in the foot in the long run because you didn't want to just pick a direction and a path that everybody else sees you going toward. So
yeah, and like I said, the new CBA ain't helping it, and it's just getting more difficult for these players to do whatever they want. And for players like the Giannis, the Jokic's, the people of that nature, they're going to be able to do what they want because they did it the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing that separates the two. I think like a lot of people kind of give like, oh, they work hard, they should have these. Yeah, to a certain degree, but it's ways you do things. That's everything in life that I want people to understand. Is ways you do it. You get different results on ways you get. You talked about different ways on ways you do things. KD, you can argue that KD, Kyrie, James Harden, people of that nature didn't do it the correct way. And they're making it hard. And people behind them are going to suffer because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shout out there, but let's move into the next topic. So there was a new analytic that Yahoo Sports created, which we've seen a lot of analytics used for players in every sport and things like that. They've now won 4 games.
Your Mike doing that thing again.
Hold on. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. But we've now seen this created now for GMs, and we'll see if this ends up being something. So they've created a metric to kind of rate GMs and how good their moves are and aren't. Now it takes a minimum of five transactions over the course of 3 years for them to try to rate this. Context, things like that aren't put into place in this type of metric because it's all numbers. So let's keep that in mind. But they've now used this to create the top 5 execs at draft picks, trades, free agent signings, and then rank the execs 1 through 25. 3 of the execs did not have enough 5 of the execs did not have enough transactions to qualify for this type of metric. But let's take a look at it. So first up, the top 5 execs as far as draft picks, and this gets the most quality, how they develop, how they impact winning. Tim Connolly with the Denver Nuggets ranked at number 1. He was with the Denver Nuggets from 2013 to 2022. He's now with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he ranked number 1. When you look at the transactions that the Nuggets have made over that time, and a little bit that the Minnesota Timberwolves, which they traded for Rudy Gobert. So that would mean that those Nuggets transactions ranked super high because that Gobert transaction, I'm sure, torpedoed his stats there a little bit. Tim Connolly at number 1. What do you think about him there?
I don't know if I put him at 1. Like I said, like you said, you think
it's just draft picks here though.
That's what I'm saying with draft picks. Like I don't know because like they made a lot of good draft picks. Like they definitely made a contender and through the draft. And now that even though like teams got better in the West, they're still one of the top teams in the West to still come out. So I get that, but the only I think the reason he's got there is just because he's Jokic. He found an MVP in the second round. So I think that's the only reason why he's number 1.
I mean, so let's look at the other draft picks he's had at the time. So yeah, definitely the Jokic parts plays a part, which he was drafted in.
Jamal.
In 2014, he was drafted.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds about right. 14, 15.
So that would have been his second draft. Tim Connolly's second draft with the Denver Nuggets. He got Jokic. After that, he also did the trade with the Bulls to send Doug McDermott to us, which was a smart draft because they got back. I forgot. Wait, was Murray in that?
I don't think so.
No, Murray was the next year. I can't remember who he traded.
So.
I can't remember who the Bulls traded for that. But okay, so you got Jokic, then you got Jamal Murray in 2016.
You talking about Gary? Was it Gary Harris?
Yes, Gary Harris. That's who it was. Yeah. Malik Beasley, they also drafted. And then after that, they drafted and traded Donovan Mitchell, so they don't get credit for that. They drafted Monte Morris in 2017, Michael Porter Jr. in 2018. I mean...
So it's MPJ and Jokic.
Yeah, that's MPJ really got and Jokic are really the one, and Jamal Murray, of course.
Jamal, yeah.
And I mean, when you factor in the fact that those are three of the cornerstone pieces to your champ eventually winning a title, he was gone by then, but
I'm not mad at it at all. Yeah, you could be one.
All right, then next up at number 2, we got Zach Kleiman with the Memphis Grizzlies. That's Ja. He's been there since 2019, so that makes sense there. Yeah. Next up, and this is when he was actually ranked number 1 overall, which we'll talk about, but Masai Ujiri at number 3 with draft selections between his time with the Denver Nuggets as well and the Toronto Raptors. What do you think about that?
I mean,
he's drafted well. They just
they capped off. That's what it is. So I mean, out of 3, I need to hear the rest of the list before I give my rest of my thoughts on that.
Next up, Raphael Stone at number 4 with the Houston Rockets. He's been there since 2020. And then Sam Presti with the OKC Thunder since 2007, which we understand. He's getting a lot of legacy votes.
Then why did I would have put Sam a little higher than that.
I would have too.
Yeah, you said 2017?
Yeah.
Hell, he rivals too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's way too low for him to be 4th on draft. He rivals 1, to be honest with you, because they got I mean, no, I can't say that because the core there in Denver won. So we still trying to see what this core is going to turn out to. So I would put him between 2 and 4. I mean 2 and 3, 2 or 3.
That's fair. I think that's fair. All right, let's move on to the next set of numbers here. We got the top 5 executives via trades. And so Danny Ainge ranks number 1 on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm about to say, we even got to talk about that.
Yeah, we ain't even got to talk about that one. Yes, between his time with the Boston Celtics and Utah Jazz, yes. Kevin Pritchard with the Portland Trailblazers ranks number 2. And he's now with the Indiana Pacers. He's been with the Pacers.
Okay, well, that Pacers definitely bumped him up because I ain't gonna lie, that Portland's a little shaky on that one.
Yeah, they bumped him up, especially getting Halliburton in the trade. So that makes sense there. Masai Ujiri, number 3. Trades? Is the Kawhi trade really pushing them up that much?
Yeah, because they won the championship off of it.
Yeah.
So I can't even.
Okay. And then Pat Riley, number 4 with the Miami Heat.
Why Sam is so low? Like, what is going on here?
Sam ain't even on this list for trades. John Horst is next up with the Milwaukee Bucks for trade. Top 5 executives for trade.
Okay, that makes sense. He made. How long he been there?
He's been there since 2017.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So,
and then next up, free agent signings. James Jones ranks number 1 with the Phoenix Suns, being there since 2018.
We ain't got to talk about that.
We ain't got to talk about that. Rob Pelinka with the Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, you signed LeBron, so
LeBron, and he completely flipped around that last year. So I'm not even mad at that at all.
I mean, LeBron, AD was a trade. Who else was just an outright signing there, though? Caruso would have been a signing during that time period too. Austin Reeves, so I guess so.
Yeah, and then they picked up dude from Miami, the point guard, Vincent.
None. Oh yeah, Gabe Vincent, yeah. And then
good.
They all look alike. Kevin Pritchard next up ranks 3rd with his time with the Portland Trailblazers and now with the Indiana Pacers.
And what's the category for this game?
Free agent signings. What was a big free agent signing for the Pacers?
Fucking Grant.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's not big.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever floats your boat.
Pat Riley, number 4. Yeah. I mean, It is what it is.
Damn. Ain't no Mark Eversley, none love. Damn, we did do some shit. I mean, it didn't work out, but damn.
And then number 5, Daryl Morey with the Houston Rockets and now currently the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah. Context behind that one would have had his ass completely off the list. For real.
But then
hey, go ahead.
The top 5 execs overall, according to this metric: Danny Ainge, number 1, which I'm never going to argue Danny Ainge. Masai Ujiri at number 2 with the Raptors. Brian Wright with the Spurs, number 3. James Jones, number 4 with the Suns, and then Kevin Pritchard, number 5 with the Pacers. Pat Riley right outside the top 5 at number 6 with the Miami.
I'm switching Brian Wright with Pat Riley. Y'all tripping.
Yeah, me too. And I even think that Brad Stevens with the Boston Celtics deserves go up.
That's way too low. Yeah. He should be 6. Yeah. Put Brian at 7, and I like the rest of that list after that.
Yeah, that list is pretty solid. But what do you think? Like, do you think that this could be a metric that we start seeing more of? Would you like to see this used? Now, advanced analytics aren't everything. You got to also use the eye test, use the results, things like that. Because, like I said, it doesn't take context out. For example, like our GM of our team, Arturas Karnisovas, ranked number 23 out of 25 towards the bottom. But while he's made some questionable moves, we all know that Jerry Reinsdorf absolutely ties their hands, and analytics can't take that into consideration. But how do you feel about the analytics use?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of analytics. Like, it's not baseball. Like, the eye test would definitely tell you another thing. Like I said, like you just said, context. There's no context when it comes to it's just straight numbers. So you get, like, even when we just went over it, you get a couple of those, you be like, you can move them around. So, like, it's not a terrible base on using it. It's not terrible at all, but I could see it messing up a franchise here and there for the future to come. Just here and there. It won't be like a constant thing, but it could mess them up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad.
It's not. I mean, you gotta. It's. I think like this. Every data point that you can have, take in, especially like for the people that kind of just watch basketball and just enjoy it. It doesn't matter. But for like basketball heads that like to get in the nitty gritty of things, like open up the analytic a little bit more. Let's see how you're factoring, how you're weighing it a little bit more. Like I love analytics in general to pair to what you also can see. I just think that it helps paint a full picture, and I think that it makes for fun conversation as well. So
that's my whole thing. Like, if you're gonna do it that way, you gotta add the context with it. So if you're just keeping it strictly numbers, it's like, but like, yeah, I'm against it. Like I did say, it's not baseball, because baseball, if you look at the analytics and the stats, it tells the whole story. For the most part, basketball, it can, but here and there, if you watch a game, you be like, that's a little bit off. So I like analytics as well. Like you said, it tells the whole story. You just got to add context behind it. If you add context behind it, I'm all for it.
Yeah. That's it. That's what it comes down. And that's really with any stat, right? You always want to add context. You can pull a number. That's what I hate what ESPN does, for example, with LeBron James. He's the only right-handed player to score the most baskets left-handed around the rim on a Thursday. They do that shit every other month, bro.
That's a make-up stat. They be coming up with stats. That's another thing. Stop coming up with goddamn stats. And I mean, he's the only player to dribble 4 times before taking a step back and made it 1,000 times. Who watch that,
bro? Like they have to have a stats person that they just be like, listen, your job, we need over the course of the season 50 random stats to help with LeBron James. We just need that. You just go and cook that up.
I think what they do somebody like AD, like he broke it. He has a career. He broke his career high 500 dunks tonight. I'm like, you sitting me telling me you gave somebody a job to sit there with a notepad and be like, dunk 1, dunk 2, dunk 3, dunk 4. Y'all stop it. Just stop it. Yeah. Everything don't need a stat. You got enough of them.
Just
hell, you have okay. First of all, and another thing, y'all give us some of these y'all fans a little bit too much credit. They don't even understand half the stats you got right now. Exactly. So stop adding shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of basketball fans that like. I remember I brought up defensive raptor on the live stream before, and somebody was legit like, I have never heard of that in my life, and I'm like, I mean, honestly, I hadn't heard about it before 3 years ago too, so I can't even blame you on it.
Right. It's probably created 3 years ago.
Probably, and it'll be a new one. They got the defensive raptor, it'll be defensive T-Rex in the next 3 years, bro. It'll be something like that, man. You know, it is what it is. Any last thoughts, Stevo, before you get up out of here, brother?
Nah, man. Just keep watching. We coming.
Yeah, stay tuned in, man. You guys can follow us at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform, especially TikTok, where Bobby and C-Dub mainly be going off on the TikTok. So y'all make sure y'all tune in there. You can follow us at NBA Central Show on every at gmail.com if you want to send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. And then to send any text messages, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball. We also got that FIBA coverage coming for you guys this weekend, man. So you guys stay tuned in for that. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.